हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू द वीकली क्विज। आज हम कवर करने वाले हैं क्वेश्चंस बेस्ड ऑन द करंट अफेयर्स व्हिच अपीयर्ड इन न्यूज़पेपर्स फ्रॉम 29 मई टू 4 जून। दैट इज व्हाई इट इज वीकली क्विज। इस क्विज के जरिए आपको ये पता लग पाएगा कि करंट अफेयर के बेसिस पे यूपीएससी एग्जामिनेशन में कैसे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, एंड इट इज गोइंग टू हेल्प यू प्रिपेयर बेटर फॉर द यूपीएससी एग्जामिनेशन बाय गिविंग यू अ ग्लिम्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आर आस्क्ड इन यूपीएससी एग्जामिनेशन। Now let's begin with the very first question. Consider the following statement. So this is a very standard type of question in UPSC. Two statements are given and which of the following is correct? You have to mark the correct statements. So now let's read the very first statement. The global temperatures owing to the climate change are likely to surge to a record high in the next 2 years. If you have read about the recent reports which were released by World Meteorological Organizations, you would know that the statement is very correct. That WMO has said that the global temperatures which are as a result of climate change will be surging to a record high in the upcoming 2 years. So statement 1 is correct. Now coming to the statement 2, the WMA said that the chances of temporarily exceeding 1.5 degree temperatures has risen steadily since 2010 when it was very close to zero. जब हम इस स्टेटमेंट को फर्स्ट टाइम पढ़ते हैं तो हमें लगता है कि हाँ, ये स्टेटमेंट हमने कहीं न्यूज़पेपर्स में देखी है और ये करेक्ट है, लेकिन यहाँ पे एक बहुत माइन्यूट सी मिस्टेक है स्टेटमेंट में, बिकॉज WMO ने कहा है कि जो 1.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस का हमारा टारगेट है वो एक्सीड हो सकता है, विच इज करेक्ट, बट व्हेन इट सेज कि 2010 में इट वाज वेरी क्लोज टू जीरो, इट इज इनकरेक्ट बिकॉज दिस हैज टू बी 2015. So statement 2 is incorrect. So here the answer becomes that statement 1 is correct but 2 is incorrect. So answer will be C here. Now coming to the second question. Now consider the following statements. Now all the three statements are regarding DSR. Now if you have read your newspaper, DSR is your direct seeding rice. Now let's read the three statements given regarding the DSR. DSR is a system wherein rice seeds are sown directly into the field. This statement is correct because by the method of the DSR method, what happens is that many of the states which were rice producing states are shifting to DSR technique because of the shortage of labor and shortage of water, and this techniques allows you to grow rice directly into the fields and the time period which is required in the nursery to grow the saplings in the nursery first reduces, and the labor is also not required. So the very first statement is correct. Then the second one is real chemical herbicides are replaced by water in your DSR. So when we say that the real chemical herbicides are replaced by water, this is incorrect because water is replaced by your real chemical herbicide. So the statement has been reversed here. So this is incorrect. Now the third one is in DSR, seedlings are grown in the nursery first. Now this statement is again incorrect because in DSR you do not have to grow the seedlings in the nursery. This was a traditional method. So only one statement is correct and you have to mark how many statements are correct. So the answer is A here. Now moving to the next question, consider the following statement with reference to the number of applicants allowed per applicant for support under Production Limited Scheme. Now why this question is here? Because the Production Limited Scheme 2.0 version has been launched by the government. Now let's read the statements regarding the scheme. The application per applicant under the scheme shall be limited to 2. Now this statement is incorrect because this is limited to 1 here. Applicants of the existing PLI scheme, that is 1.0 version, who have not claimed any incentives will be allowed to participate in the PLI 2.0 scheme as a new entrants provided they are selected. So now the provision regarding the applicants who have not availed the benefits under the PLI scheme can claim and they will be considered as a new entrants in the scheme. So this statement here is correct. Now the third one is the applications and the applicants of the existing PLI scheme who wants to claim incentive in the year 1 or year 2 will be allowed to participate in PLI 2.0 scheme from the next year, that is the year 2 and year 3, for which incentive is not claimed provided they are selected. Now this statement is also correct because the existing PLI scheme applicants who want to claim incentives in the year 1 or year 2, वो अलाउ किया जाएगा कि वो पार्टिसिपेट कर सके PLI 2.0 स्कीम में, लेकिन ईयर 2 और ईयर 3 से जिसके लिए इंसेंटिव्स क्लेम नहीं किए गए थे, बट वन कंडीशन इज दैट दे शुड बी सिलेक्टेड. Now, in such cases, their investment done during the tenure of the existing PLI scheme will be considered as an eligible investment under your 2.0 scheme also. So here one is wrong and the other two statements are correct. That is why the answer becomes B. Only two statements are correct. Now moving to the next question. It is in reference to the navigation system. Consider the following pairs. NVS-01 India, GLONASS China, Galileo Russia. The fourth one is Baidu Japan. Now we have to find how many of the above pairs are correctly matched. Now, if you have read your newspapers very carefully, you might be aware of the fact that India's second generation satellite, which is under NAVIC, that is Navigation by Indian Constellation Services, they have launched their first second generation satellite and that is named NVS-01. So, first one is matched correctly. Now, when we talk about GLONASS, it is the navigation system of Soviet Union. So, second pair is matched incorrectly. Galileo is the navigation system of Europe. So the third pair is also not matched correctly. जब हम बात करते हैं Baidu की, it is not the navigation system of Japan, but it is the navigation system of China. So only one pair, that is NVS-01, belongs to India is marked correctly. So the answer here is going to be A. Now moving to the next question. Consider the following statements about the impact of Global Plastic Treaty on the globe. Now, this question is related to your Global Plastic Treaty. So, you must know about what is this treaty, what were the key highlights of the treaty, and why it was in news. So, in 2022, the UN Environment Assembly in Nairobi and 175 countries agreed to develop a legally binding global treaty. This treaty was called your Global Plastic Treaty or GPT, and it aimed to end the plastic pollution by 2024. Now, let's read the statements given regarding this treaty. GPT includes mechanisms for monitoring and reporting progress on plastic waste reduction targets. So, the statement 1 is correct because GPT includes a mechanism जिसमें monitor और report कर सकते हैं progress plastic waste reduction targets की कि कितना हमने target जो है achieve किया है और उसको monitor भी कर सकते हैं. जब हम second statement की बात करते हैं, the treaty encourages the nation to work on their pollution contribution and compensate other nations for plastic pollution. Now, when we talk about compensating other nations for plastic pollution, this is not part of GPT. So, the statement 2 is incorrect. So, now we are left with only one is correct or only two is correct. Because if the third one is correct, the answer will be B. If the third is wrong, the answer is going to be your A. Now, let's come to the third statement. The GPT aims to significantly reduce plastic pollution, which is correct, by implementing measures to minimize the generation of plastic waste, correct, enhance recycling and recovery system, this is also part of your Global Plastic Treaty, and it encourages sustainable alternative to single-use plastic, this is also correct. So, statement 3 is correct and answer is going to be your B, that two of the statements mentioned above are correct. Now, let's come to the next question. With reference to the rare diseases, consider the following pairs. That is, we have to see which of the diseases marked correctly along with the pair. Leyens syndrome, it is a rare disease in which the body is unable to utilize the growth hormones resulting in your short stature. Now, when we talk about this, it is a rare disease in which body is unable to utilize the growth hormones. That is, body जो होती है, human body, वो अपने growth hormones को properly utilize नहीं कर पाती है, जिसकी वजह से short stature is the consequence. So, this is marked correctly. This pair is matched correctly. Now, let's come to the second pair, Wilson's disease. It causes continuous inflammation and tissue damage impacting the nervous system and joints. Now, this is marked incorrectly because this is a rare disorder in which copper is accumulated in your vital organs. कौन से organs होते हैं जैसे liver, brain, other organs, इनमें copper accumulate हो जाता है. So, this is marked incorrectly. Now, the next one is neonatal onset multi-system inflammatory disease, जिसे हम NOMID भी कहते हैं. Now, it is a rare disease in which copper is accumulated in the vital organ like liver, brain and others. Now, this is incorrect because I told you this is Wilson's disease. So, this is marked incorrectly. NOMD में, MID में क्या होता है? It causes continuous inflammation. This is marked. This was the explanation of NOMID and this is the explanation of your Wilson disease basically. Now, let's come to the fourth pair. Now, the fourth one is CAH, that is congenital adrenal hyperplasia. It is given it is a group of genetic disorder that affect adrenal gland. Now this is marked correctly. So fourth and the first pair is marked correctly. So answer is going to be, how many pairs are matched correctly? Only 2 pairs are matched correctly. Now coming to the next question. Consider the following statement. Now the first statement is given. The Foucault pendulum is a device named after French physicist Leon Foucault that demonstrate the Earth's rotation. Now the second statement is the rate of rotation of the pendulum depends on the latitude of the location where it is suspended. And at equator, the pendulum rotates once in 24 hours. At the North Pole, the pendulum does not rotate at all. Now, where have we heard about this Foucault pendulum? Now, this was in the inauguration ceremony of the new Parliament building. It showcases a remarkable piece of scientific artistry suspended from the ceiling of the new Parliament building. This was your Foucault pendulum. Now, this pendulum is a very simple device which was named after French physicists. This is correctly mentioned here, and it does demonstrate the Earth's rotation. So, statement 1 is correct. Now, when we talk about the second statement, the rate of rotation of the pendulum, it does depend on the latitude of the location where it is suspended. So, this part of the statement 2 is also correct. But when we talk about at the equator, the pendulum rotates once in 24 hours. This is incorrect because this is the condition at the pole, whereas at the equator, the pendulum does not rotate at all. So, overall, the second statement is incorrect. So, the correct answer is going to be statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. That is your C. Now, moving to the next question. Now, consider the following dynasties: Sunga dynasty, Gurdwala dynasty, Yadava dynasty and Kushana dynasties. Now, why these dynasties are in news is because there was an excavation going on in the old fort region, that is Purana Kila area, by the Archaeological Survey of India, and many artifacts have been found from the various dynasties. So that is why these dynasties are in news. So let's read the question. Consider the following dynasties. Artifacts from various dynasties have been discovered in the excavation by Archaeological Survey of India at Purana Kila. How many dynasties mentioned above are associated with the old fort? Now, if you have read your newspaper very clearly, you must be aware of the fact that historical time periods associated with 9 cultural levels, which included your pre-Mauryan, Mauryan, Sunga dynasty, Kushana, Gupta, post-Gupta, Rajputa, Sultanate and Mughal time period. The artifacts from these dynasties have been found in the excavation at the Purana Kila. So when we see these 4 dynasties, the Gurdwala and the Yadava dynasties are wrong and Sunga and Kushana are the correct one. So only 2, that is B, is the correct answer here. Both the dynasties are associated with artifacts which are found at the Purana Kila in the excavations. Now let's come to the next question. A sculpted figure using the lost wax technique was made up of bronze. It was discovered in 1926 by archaeologist Ernest Mackay. And it was found in one of the largest and the most advanced urban settlement of the ancient world. Now you have to identify which the above statement describes which of the following. Is it the dancing girl, bearded man, male torso or a bull? Now the dancing girl figurine was in news. Why? Because the contemporarized version of dancing girl figurine of Mohenjo-daro, which was found in Mohenjo-daro, it was used as a mascot for the International Museum Expo 2023 in Delhi. So you must know the features or the characteristics of this. So this statement given here is associated with dancing girl, or it describes dancing girl. So answer here becomes A. And dancing girl is one of the most famous and iconic artifacts of your Indus Valley civilization also. And it was discovered in 1926. This is correct. And it is made of bronze and it is sculpted using the lost wax technique also. Now moving to the next question. Consider the following statement in reference to it is a protection system of trains being developed since 2012 under the name Train Collision Avoidance System. Now this question or the statements are given regarding your TCAS, which is Train Collision Avoidance System. It says this system uses radio frequency identification technology to communicate between trains and trackside equipment. This automated train protection system was developed by Russia and India, also named as Kavach. Kavach is designed to reduce the risk of train collision and improve train safety. We have to find out how many statements are correct ones. Now, the name mentioned here, Kavach, is the correct name. It is an indigenously developed automatic train protection system, that is ATPS, which was developed by the Research, Design and Standards Organization of Indian Railways. Okay. So, and it is a train collision avoidance system that uses your radio frequency identification technology, and it does communicate between trains and trackside equipment. So, statement 1 is correct. Now, it can detect approaching trains and alert trains driving of potential collisions, and it can also automatically apply the brakes of trains if the collision is imminent. So this has automatic sensing system that अगर उसे लगता है कि ट्रेन्स कोलाइड करने वाली है या ट्रेन टकराने वाली जब होती हैं तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली ट्रेन की ब्रेक्स लगाता है. Now, when we come to the second statement that it is developed by Russia and India, the statement is incorrect because it is completely indigenous system. Now, Kavach is designed to reduce the risk of train collisions and improve train safety. This is correct. It is currently being used on selected sections of Indian Railway only, and the plan is it will be eventually deployed on all the sections of Indian Railway network. So, we get the answer as only two statements are correct, that is 1 and 3, and the second one is wrong. Now, the National Institution for Transforming India, that is Niti Aayog, initiated an annual health index in collaboration with which of the following organizations? Now, this question can be asked in two ways. Either you will be asked a question on annual health index, which was released by Niti Aayog in collaboration with one of the following organizations, or you can be asked the question like this only, that what are the organization or which organization collaborated with your Niti Aayog. सो आपको बेसिकली पता होना चाहिए कोई भी अगर इंडेक्स आया है या कोई भी गवर्नमेंट स्कीम आई है तो वो किस मिनिस्ट्री की है, या अगर कोलैबोरेशन में है तो कौन कौन सी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस इन्वॉल्व हैं. जब हम बात करते हैं जो कि हमारा नीति आयोग ने जो एनुअल हेल्थ इंडेक्स निकाला है, दिस इज एसोसिएटेड विद योर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ एंड फैमिली वेलफेयर and your World Bank. That is, it is a collaboration of three organizations, World Bank, then the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and Niti Aayog. So answer here will be A. So it's a very simple and straightforward question. अगर आपने न्यूज अच्छे से पढ़ा है और आपने देखा है कि कौन सी मिनिस्ट्री एसोसिएटेड है या वर्ल्ड बैंक या WHO कौन एसोसिएटेड है, तो आप आंसर इसको कर सकते हैं. एट द सेम टाइम दिस क्वेश्चन बिकम डिफिकल्ट अगर आपने उस हेल्थ इंडेक्स के सारे फीचर्स तो पढ़े हैं बट आपने मिनिस्ट्री को याद करना भूल गए हैं, तो ये आपके लिए ट्रिकी क्वेश्चन हो सकता है. नाउ मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट बेस्ट रिफ्लेक्ट्स द टर्म de-dollarization? Now this term de-dollarization is the process of reducing the use of United States dollar in the country's economy. That means जब किसी भी कंट्री में हम यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स यानी अमेरिका का जो डॉलर करेंसी है उसका यूज को हम कम करते हैं तो उसको बोलते हैं डी डॉलराइजेशन का प्रोसेस. नाउ विद रिगार्ड टू दिस प्रोसेस लेट्स कंसिडर द स्टेटमेंट्स गिवन. द ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी वुड बिकम मोर डिपेंडेंट अपॉन यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. नाउ अकॉर्डिंग टू डी डॉलराइजेशन अगर किसी कंट्री में होता है तो क्या ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी जो है वो मोर डिपेंडेंट ऑन यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स रहेगी? नहीं रहेगी. तो ये स्टेटमेंट गलत है क्योंकि जब हम ये कह रहे हैं कि हम डॉलर का यूटिलाइजेशन कम करेंगे तो डिपेंडेंसी कम होगी रेदर देन इंक्रीजिंग. सो स्टेटमेंट ए इज इनकरेक्ट. नाउ मूविंग टू द सेकेंड स्टेटमेंट, द यूएस इकोनॉमी वुड बिकम मोर रेजिलिएंट टू इकोनॉमिक शॉक्स. नाउ दिस इज अगेन इनकरेक्ट. The third one is the US dollar would become stronger in its status as a world reserve currency. Now this is again incorrect because the alternatives will be used, so it is not going to become more stronger. Now it is a process whereby countries tend to reduce their reliance on US dollar. This is correct as a reserve currency and a medium of exchange and also a unit of account. Now here the statement D is correct and it is best describing your de-dollarization. Now when we talk about why the countries would want to de-dollarize, one reason is that they may be concerned about the US government's ability to print money and devalue the dollar. Another reason is that they may be concerned about US government's use of economic sanctions against the other countries. Recently, there are 18 countries which include UK, Germany, Russia, etc. They have given the permission to trade in Indian rupees and that means they have allowed de-dollarization also. Now moving to the next question, which of the following statements best reflects the term salt carbon based reserves? Now we have to see which out of the following is the meaning of this term salt carbon based reserves. Now, if we talk about where this term was in use or what it is associated with, government-owned consultancy firm Engineers India, that is your EIL, is studying the prospects and feasibility of developing salt cavern-based strategic oil reserves in Rajasthan to achieve energy security. So it is related to that. Unlike underground rock caverns, which are developed through excavations, salt caverns are developed by the process of solution mining, जिसमें हम वाटर पंप करते हैं into geological formations with large salt deposits to dissolve your salt. Now let's read the statements. Which of the following describe the best out of the four? Salt caverns are developed by the process of solution mining, which involves pumping water into the geological formation with large salt deposits to dissolve the salt. Now this appears to be correct, but let's eliminate the other three to mark the A as the answer. The salt caverns is a large underground chamber created by excavating rock. Now this is wrong because this is done in the underground rock caverns, not in salt caverns. Now let's come to the statement C. Salt caverns are typically less expensive to develop than your rock caverns होगा यहाँ पर. So this statement is again incorrect because salt caverns are typically more expensive to develop than your rock caverns. Then let's come to the statement D. Salt caverns are not as well sealed like rock caverns. This is again incorrect because salt caverns are well sealed like your rock caverns. So the answer here is A. Now moving to the next question. India successfully carried out the training launch of Agni-1 missile. Yes, this is correct. It was done. The missile was launched from Odisha and it was in the trial phase. It is a trial launch of Agni-1 missile. Which of the following is incorrect about the Agni-1 missile? Now mind it, here we have to mark the incorrect ones. Generally what happens is जब कोई भी मिसाइल या कोई भी सैटेलाइट लॉन्च की जाती है तो उसके फीचर्स या किस टेक्नोलॉजी के द्वारा उसे बनाया गया है या वो लॉन्च की गई है उसके रिगार्डिंग क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं. सो अगेन हियर इज अ क्वेश्चन रिगार्डिंग Agni-1 missile. Now Agni-1 is a medium range ballistic missile. This is very correct. It is capable of carrying a payload of 1,500 kgs. Now we'll come back to this statement again. Let's see this third statement. Agni-1 is used by the Strategic Force Command SFC of Indian Army. This is also correct. This ballistic missile is a medium range ballistic missile which is used by Indian Army. Then Agni-1 ballistic missile has a strike range of 700 to 1200 kilometers and it weighs around 12,000 kilograms. This is also correct. Now here the statement B is incorrect. Why? Because the payload capacity of Agni-1 is only 1000 kgs. It is not 1500 kgs. So answer here is going to be B because we have to mark the incorrect one. Now let's come to the question number 15. In India, which one of the following organization developed the National Automated Fingerprint Identification System? Again, a very simple, but yet this question can be a tricky question if you don't remember the organization and you remember all the features of National Automated Fingerprint Identification System. Now, CBI, NIA and Narcotics Control Bureau will be providing access to National Automated Fingerprint Identification System and it will integrate central agencies data with that of states police records. That means the central agency का जितना भी data है उसको incorporate किया जाएगा state police record के साथ using your National Automated Fingerprint Identification System. Now the options in this question seems to be very confusing. That is NCRB भी mentioned है, NCB, CBI, NIA भी mentioned है. But difference है CBI, NIA और NCB जो है वो एक्सेस प्रोवाइड करेंगे आपका सिर्फ नेशनल ऑटोमेटेड फिंगरप्रिंट आइडेंटिफिकेशन सिस्टम के लिए. वेयर एज जब हम बात करते हैं कि डेवलप किसने किया है, इट वाज डेवलप्ड बाय NCRB इन 2022. सो आंसर हियर इज A. सो दिस इज अ वेरी माइन्यूट डिफरेंस. यू शुड नो बिकॉज जब आप न्यूज़पेपर में ये न्यूज पढ़ेंगे तो आपको ये चारों ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का नाम मेंशन किया हुआ दिखेगा, लेकिन आपको डिफरेंस समझना है कि कौन एक्सेस प्रोवाइड करेगा, किसने डेवलप किया है, कब इंप्लीमेंट होगा या कौन सी इंप्लीमेंटिंग एजेंसी इन्वॉल्व है. सो दीज वर द 15 क्वेश्चंस बेस्ड ऑन द लास्ट week's current affairs and this kind of questions can be asked in your UPSC examination. आपको इस तरीके से इन क्वेश्चंस की हेल्प से ये पता लगता है कि आपको करंट अफेयर्स किस तरीके से प्रिपेयर करने हैं ताकि कि आप कोई भी चीज या कोई भी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट मिस आउट ना करें जिसकी वजह से आपको कोई भी प्रीलिम्स में क्वेश्चन गलत हो. I hope this video was helpful for your UPSC preparation. This is it for this video. See you in the next weekly quiz. Thank you.